stars, I will be there.
I'm Monica Charette, and this is Holding the Light.
As long as you love, I will whisper in your ear. Little whispers you will hear. As long as you love.
Today's podcast honors the enduring bond that even tragedy can't break. We talk with a mother whose world was shattered when her son was murdered in a moment of violence. She shares the story behind the headlines, the love, the laughter, the heartbreak, and the resiliency to carry on his legacy. This conversation is a reminder that even when violence steals life, it cannot silence a mother's love. We are honored to hold the light with Zorimar Bentancourt. We're talking today with a mother whose world changed the day her son's life was taken in a senseless act of violence. Her story is one no parent should ever have to tell, but in her words, we'll find both the pain and the power that come from loving deeply. Zorimar, I am so honored to have you on our podcast and sharing your son, Stefano, with us.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm very blessed to be here with you today.
I want to start by sharing that Zorimar and I met in the most unique and beautiful way. This past year, I was honored to be named Maine's 2025 Mother of the Year by the American Mothers Incorporated and have had this amazing opportunity to share our Shine on Cast Foundation and this podcast on a much larger level and representing Maine mothers at the national conference in April in beautiful San Juan, Puerto Rico, which is where I had the great pleasure of meeting the 2022 Puerto Rico Mom of the Year, Zorimar. So do you remember our first night when we met, that Friday night? It was so fun.
Yes.
I couldn't wait to put a face with your voice and really connect on a much broader level. So I learned about this incredible mother and the tragic loss of her son before arriving in San Juan, and I knew I just had to meet you, and we instantly bonded that first night with a big hug, and I'm so grateful for American Mothers and that chance meeting that started a friendship that continues to evolve.
Yes, I'm too. I think us moms are, you know, when you're a mom of an angel, it's like a connection that not many people do have. And it's special. When we are moms that want to have the story of our child go on and change lives, it's very important for me to do that. And it was great and amazing to meet you, a mom doing the same.
We've often said that how your child dies doesn't change the depth of your grief, and you are the first guest to share what it's like to lose a child from a violent crime. Does the way he died add complicated layers to your grief, Zorimar?
I think the way he died is a shock to me, and it has been a shock to the whole community because nobody expects to have a child murdered coming out of your beach home going home. So it's like it was a huge shock to receive his phone call and him saying that something was going wrong and somebody was hitting his car and everything else. So it has some, I think about it and I don't want to have any other parent go through this situation. So I work a lot on that and I work on myself trying to give myself spaces for self love. And when I get into the position that I'm helping other families that also are going through grief because of the violence in our country, I try to not only give of myself, like, ask them if okay, I can hug them, but give them advice on how to survive the all types of moment from day number one.
Let's start by let's go back and tell us what happened to Stefano in whatever way feels right for you.
Well, Stefano was 17 years old, and we were celebrating my daughter's 14th-year-old birthday party weekend. And we were at the beach house with friends of my daughters and family members. And when it came time to go home, because I had to return the friends of, my daughter's friends, um, my daughter decided that she wanted to have Stefano with her for her birthday at home. Because that was not the plan. The plan was that he would stay at the beach house with my family members and enjoy, you know, a few more days of sun. But anyway, he was so cool. He said, "Okay, I'll go home with you, and I'll take my grandma's car, and then I'll drive back tomorrow." So he took the grandma's car, and unfortunately, that's what the thieves were looking for, Lexus, and they were gonna get paid $1,500 if they brought back a Lexus. So they went after him, and he called me and he told me, he's like, "Mom, I'm rolling the car and they're hitting me on the back."
Oh my
And
God.
I thought, well, my son doesn't like to waste gas. He's always on the battery part, running by battery. So I thought that he was just going very slow and that they wanted him to move. So I'm like, "Okay, so let's move or get out of the way." And then he's like, "I can't." And I'm like, "Okay, try." Because it kept on happening. And he kept on saying, like, "What am I going to do? I'm scared." And I'm like, "Don't stop. Don't stop." Was the first thing I said. Try to get out of there. Try to do that U-turn. And he's like, "I can't." And I'm like, in my head, like, why can't he do this? But unfortunately, in the space that he was in this two-way road, there was something in the medium that you couldn't just do that U-turn. So by the time that I could figure out, like, really he's in danger, I was going to tell him to go in the emergency lane and just speed. But then he tells me that they went in the emergency lane and they were passing him. And I was like, "Thank you, God, protect my son." And then I said to him, "Give me the license plate number." And he did. He gave me twice the license plate number of that car. And that's how that night the police went to the house of Amador's Huggins' mother, and they asked her about him and that they needed him at the police station because he was not there anymore.
Oh my gosh. You must have been so horrified.
I was horrified because I wasn't sure exactly what was happening. The phone broke once he he gave me the license plate number twice, and then I heard, like, like this, and then the phone died. And I tell my daughter, I said to her, "Call your brother," and she called, and he didn't answer. I said, "Call again," and he didn't answer. And then I was the one that got in the emergency lane because I was like 20 cars behind him and started speeding. And then we saw the car that had crashed on the other side of the road. So he did try to do that U-turn. It was just that he got shot before he could do it.
So he got
And
shot by the people that were perpetrating him.
yes, yes, they shot they did all the bullets. It was 6 bullets in the car, and one of them was in his head.
And for a car. They wanted the
For
car.
a car. For a car. And they didn't take the car. So they
Right.
got nothing.
So they
But they
fled.
did kill him. Yes. And then after that, they went to celebrate. And at least that's what they told us at court. That they had gone to celebrate, that they had killed Stefano. I'm like, this is crazy. Somebody who they didn't know, somebody who would never harm anyone or anything. And all because of a car.
Greed.
Yeah. I talk about this all the time because after that happened, a friend of mine that lives in those neighborhoods was with her daughter, and the same thing happened to her daughter. The difference was that this time the mom was in front, in a car in the front, and the daughter was in the car in the back. So she told her daughter, "Get in the emergency lane and speed." And once she got to speed, the people were following her, but she had enough time to put her car in between her daughter's car and the thieves.
Wow.
So that's how she saves her daughter's life. But I didn't have that opportunity, unfortunately.
I'm just heartbroken. I can't imagine having that unfold in front of you.
It goes by so fast that by the time your brain can tell you what's going on,
Yeah.
because you really don't understand what's going on. The adrenaline that goes through your body, the it goes so fast. And I asked the person that was there already, I said, "That's my son, is he okay?" And the only thing he could do with his finger was like, "No." So then I continued to go over that bump, turn around, and park the car as far as I could, because I didn't want my daughter to seeing what was happening, because I wasn't even sure what had happened. Once I got to park my car, I got off the car and I said to her, start praying, and close the car, you know. So I went to see what was happening with Stefano, and I realized that he was in the car. He was like with his head on the window, and the car was running, but the car was also locked. So I had to find something to break into the car so I could get to him and try to save his life. And I did. And, unfortunately, he there was so much blood that he couldn't survive. I mean, he did survive for a few days, so he became an organ donor. And that was, once they told me that he had brain death, then a lady came from Lifelink and said to me, "Did you know he had registered as an organ donor?" And I said, "No," but he had. And I said, "If that's his last wish, I want to say, let's do it." And for me, that has been very healing, being able to meet four of his five recipients.
That's amazing. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Was that really helpful? Or was it hard
Oh,
also?
yes. Oh, yes. That has helped me and my family heal, because then you see a little bit of a purpose. Like, okay, he's not here anymore, but he is living in five people. And when you get to meet the people and know what they're doing, it's like, oh my God, like the heart went to Camilo Valencia, and he's a musician. And he is the music director of La Voz Kids, and he travels the world, and his life changed once he had Stefano's heart again. Unfortunately, he died 2 years ago, and it was really hard for me, because it felt like having a big brother. He was older than me, and I always wanted a big brother. I'm the oldest one in my family, so that's how I saw him. And when I got cancer, he was the one that helped me through this. I stayed in Miami in his house. He went with me to look for a doctor. He was with me the day they operated me. And he was the first thing I saw when I woke up from that operation. So imagine, it's like there are no words to say the relationships that you can develop with people who you have no idea who they are, but all of a sudden are become part of your family, because part of you, of me, because my blood ran through my son and through his heart, so part of me is in somebody else too. It's
Well,
kind
and
of
feels like
interesting.
Stefano was with you. Like his heart was with
Yes.
you when you needed him.
Yeah. For my daughter's 15th birthday here in Puerto Rico, they do instead of the sweet 16, they do sweet 15. And I said to him that I wanted to have part of Stefano with me that day. And he came. He flew to Puerto Rico. He stayed with us. And you know, he was amazing, amazing support for
Yeah.
me during that special occasion for my daughter.
Wow.
So and so is the other people. The lady who has his lungs, she's amazing. She lives in New York, and she's always talking about organ donations. The man who has his kidney and his pancreas, he lives here in Puerto Rico in Ponce, and also he's doing great. He has become grandpa to five children, and one of them he called Stefano. And then the lady who has his other kidney, she was a nurse and a head nurse, and there's no words to say.
Yeah. We've interviewed another guest that whose daughter was an organ donor, and it gave her such a purpose afterwards. So I'm grateful for that for you, but that doesn't erase your grief. Like
No.
never erases your grief. And violence takes away the child you're here to protect. It must shake your whole sense of security
Oh, yes.
and trust. What did those first days and weeks look like for you? And How do you view that now, 13 years later?
Well, the first days was like I still didn't get what was going on. The police were coming to interview me at the hospital. I said, I'm not leaving my son. I'm not going to go anywhere. If you want to interview, you have to come here. It was awful because I had to go in an ambulance with my son, and I left my daughter with her friends, and she's 13 years old with 13-year-olds in the hospital, the first hospital that we went, and with a man who I didn't know. And it was like all of a sudden I had to leave. And I was like, what happened to them? They were taken to the police station, they were interviewed. I mean, 13-year-olds, and I wasn't there. So it was like, how did they feel about all this? And for a while it was really hard for the friends, and for the parents of the friends. It was awful, awful, awful.
It sounds very chaotic too. Like you're managing everything your kids do in their lives, and all of a sudden you have no control over what's happening to you or them.
Mm. I wanted I put in Facebook when I was in the ambulance with Stefano. I said I need to people to pray for a miracle. This little lady came. She does miracles, and she said you have to ask for a complete miracle, because a miracle is that somebody lives, but a complete miracle is that he can live to be the same again. And I learned that that day. And now when I go to hospitals to help other families, and I'm in my head praying for a complete miracle and telling the parents to pray for a complete miracle, because I just wouldn't have been able to do all that I have done with the foundation if I had Stefano alive in a bed, for example. And in a hospital bed, it's very strange to say this, but I think by the his death has inspired me in many ways. And one of the things that I think about all the time is how can I control, or how can I change things so other people are safe and not murdered. And how can I get into and this is one of the things I really want to do, to have a campaign of hashtag please don't kill me, and see if that will help and go into people's brains. Like, before you kill someone, think of it. It could be your family member, it could be somebody you love, take the car, but let them live.
That's really powerful.
Yeah.
I have so many other questions to ask you about your grief, but I'm now I want to know everything because you keep dropping us little tidbits of things that you're doing, and I think our listeners are going to want to know about that. So, tell us about the organ donation advocacy that you do first. We'll start there.
Yes. So I talk a lot about organ donation because really it has changed my life. I had no clue what organ donation was until this happened. Now I see it. I see the magic that comes through the whole donation process. And I have a lot of people that call me. It's like they're like, "Oh, we need an organ and we need help." And I'm like, "Well, the first thing you need to do is make a video, put it in your social networks, and start recruiting people to write themselves up as organ donors, because you never know." I mean, Stefano was 16 and a half, and 6 months later, he became an organ donor. If he had not registered, maybe I wouldn't have made that decision that day, because you are confused. One, you're in the hospital and you're in trauma. The thing I thought at the beginning when they said, okay, he has 1 hour to live or 3 days, and it took forever for me to be able to go to him, I was like, what is going on? Because I did go into the nurse station and said, when am I going to see my kid? And I saw that the nurse had the phone number to LifeLink, which is the people who deal with organ donation here in Puerto Rico. And then I thought, they're killing my son. They want his organs. I mean, that's the thing that came into my brain. And I said, I don't want him to be cut into pieces. And that was because I didn't have what I have now, which is the consciousness of the magic that happens not only for the people that receive those organs, for their children, for their grandchildren, for families, and life that can be born out of people, young people that receive the organs. It is so incredible. And I see it, for example, this year it was Stefano's birthday. And I went to the same restaurant that I used to go with him, with friends of my daughter. And then the friend is like, "Oh, well, my mom wants to come too," and I'm like, "Fine, bring her over." So the mom came with her other daughter, and her other daughter was talking to me that she needed an organ transplant for a liver. And can you believe we were in the restaurant and my phone rang, and it was a mom of two deceased kids that was calling me to say that um her sister's son was with brain death in Miami. And I was like, "Oh my God, he can be an organ donor." So I said, "Do you know what kind of blood he has?" And she's like, "No, but I can ask the nurse." And I said, "Well, listen, I'm here right now with somebody who needs a liver, and her blood is A negative." So she hung up, and 5 minutes later, she called and she said, "My nephew is A negative." It's a miracle. It's a miracle. And then that was on a Friday. By Monday, my friend's daughter was having a transplant of somebody who I knew, the family.
Hmm.
So I can't wait till the moment comes that we can travel with Nicole over there, or that they come over here and they can meet, because I know that will help the mom and the dad in the grieving process. And only 5% of people get to meet each other. And that's
That is
really
low.
low. Maybe people don't understand how, well, different people believe different things. But at least for me and the people who I've met that have been able to meet the organ recipients, it has been super healing and super healthy in the process.
Gives you purpose.
Yes.
Tell me about the foundation.
Well, Fundación Stefano was established in 2012, which was the same year that Stefano passed. And we started with the purpose of creating awareness of organ donations. But, after going through cancer, which I got a year later, and trying to deal with my grieving process, I realized that really was important to help other families go through this process, because it's not easy, as you know. And it doesn't matter the way that your child dies. I mean, there's nothing more painful for a mom or a dad than losing a child. So we decided to put that as part of the mission of the foundation. And that's what I spent most of my time doing, helping others. I get phone calls from family members, from reporters, from um, people, and they're like, "Please come help us, help this family. They're in the hospital right now. This happened." And like, as we speak, I have one case in the hospital of this man. He was 36 years old. He had a car accident this week, and he flew out of the car, and the car crashed, or he crashed. The car spins, and he went out of the car, and the car got in fire. But he's in the hospital in between life and death. And I'm like, "Oh my God." And his mom already has two children that have gone before her. So this would have, hopefully this won't happen, but it could be her third child that she loses. And I went to the hospital to see her immediately, and I was like, "Oh my God, I don't know how she's standing." It's strength, the strength that comes from heaven, some people say, from a higher force or higher purpose. And
So your foundation, like people can contact you and you can rush out and help them at the moment.
yes, usually when I get a call, it doesn't matter what I'm up to. I drop everything and I get in the car and I go to whatever hospital the people are in, or to the Forensic Science Institute to deal with with the parents there. And I help them plan the funerals, help them through everything they need. I'm like, we have a grief response team which goes out immediately. And our foundation has students from psychology that do the practice with us. And also, we have social work students. So, usually, I also try to include the students that come with me so they learn how to treat people in these cases, and what to say, what not to say, you know, what the boundaries are, because you have to have the boundaries with the family. You walk in and they're like, you know, people, a lot of people know me in Puerto Rico because what happened to Stefano. So mostly they're like, oh my God, I never thought this was going to happen to me. I prayed so much for you, for your family, and now I'm in the same shoes. And I am like, yes, and I'm here for you, and I'm going to help you. And I feel like I'm the crushes of the people until they can walk again. And that's what it's all about, having empathy and having just being there for a family. Even if you don't say anything, just listen to them, feel their pain. And those experiences are unique, they are hard, but I don't change my life. I love what I do, and I know I was born to do this to help people.
It's incredible. It really is incredible what you're doing. And how did you prepare yourself for this? Did you have special training? How did this come about?
I think it's in your heart. And I mean, I have studied a lot. I've studied with David Kessler, I've studied thanatology. I've become a life coach, especially for grief. Now I'm doing spiritual life coaching, and I became a counselor. And this is all I've done. You just jump into it and start learning, because the more the more information I have that I can use with people, the better it is for the families. And right now, we got a donation of this beautiful 2.2 acre, space, and it's like a farmhouse. It has a horse, a space for horses. It's like a jungle, kind of. So now I want to make this into the first healing center for grieving families in Puerto Rico. And I want to invite you to come, and everybody who's listening, in the future, if you want to stop by, please call me. And you can find me in Instagram at Team Stefano PR or Sorimar 17. You'll see pictures of the space. We're moving right now. We have 4 offices and this beautiful space. So we're moving our central offices there right now. So we can really not only help others, but help ourselves working out in nature with our patients. So I'm super excited for
She
this.
shared pictures with me. I was pretty excited myself. I saw them. I hope I get a chance to come back to Puerto
Of
Rico
course you will. Of
and
course you
visit.
will.
Tell me about your daughter. Is it Anna, right?
Yes.
Yeah, who, like Colby, lost not only her sibling but her best friend. So, how were you able to support her, and how has she found her place in the world without Stefano?
Well, has been very hard because she went into a shell. So she decided not to talk about it and not to tell people about it. And whenever, she meets people, she never says that she had a brother, because I think because she just was not ready to open her heart and talk about it. It's too painful for her. So because of that, I went to train at the Doggy Center in Portland, Oregon, and they have a center for children that are in grief, and that's what I want to have here in Puerto Rico, in this space, a space that children from 3 years on can come and heal their pain and talk about it with other kids that are going through the same process, because then you're not a weirdo. You are, unfortunately, the sibling, of a deceased youth, or and it's very important to for me to tell you that when I have met other people who have gone through the process as a young person that lost their siblings, they also lost their mother. That's what they tell me. My mother never was the same. My mother decided to stay at home and not go out anymore. My mother just stayed in their room. So that I'm very conscious about. And that I talk about, you know, to the parents and family members and friends of the family that are going through the loss of youth. And it's very important to be aware that if it's difficult for us as adults, for children, it's very, very difficult to express their emotions and figure out what they're feeling. And it's up to us to find help for them. That's really important so they don't grow and have what we call lagunas, like this space that they will have problems in the future if we don't help them now. So that's what I want for our healing center. I want spaces that kids can come and feel that they can talk about their feelings with other kids that are going through the same in a safe space, and that they will be able to have art space to go paint, and a space that they can have a music space, different spaces so they can heal slowly how they feel and they can repair their hearts.
Well, everybody's grief needs witnessing and validated, especially young people.
Yeah. But for Anna, it has been hard. And now she's 27 years old. And to celebrate her birthday was awful for years because that was the day that Stefanos, had his accident. So now, finally, after all these years, we can be at peace and celebrate her birthday on that day, because the first thing she said then was like, I want to change my birthday, and she chose May 7th as her new birthday date. But that we did for the first year. We celebrated her birthday on May 7th, and then her Stefano's friends again on her real birthday came with a cake and this and that. And you know it's I think that this disruption in your life is so big. I tell everybody there is a life before and there is a life after the death of your child, and it's completely different. And we need to
Absolutely.
have the tools to be able to go through the process and the trauma of losing a child.
Well, when your grief changes so much, how do you think yours has over the last 13 years?
Wow, how has it changed? Well, at the beginning, I was a mess, a wreck. I mean, I couldn't think, I couldn't act. I knew that I was not gonna be sitting, which I did for the first month and a half. I just lay down watching the clouds go by and watching palm trees and this. And I couldn't eat. I lost 35 pounds and I just couldn't swallow. I, you know, you go into this circle, or how you, a spiral, and then you're going down and you have to stop it, because the loss that I had, I couldn't control. I couldn't control the people that killed him, but I can control how it affects my whole life. If I'm going to lose my job, lose my house, lose my car, lose my friends, o sea, you have to be aware and conscious that it is a process and that we have to work at it, because things still unfortunately have to happen around us, so you don't lose the rest of your life.
That's a hard thing to accept, though, isn't it? When you're in the
Yes.
depths of your grief.
Very, very, very difficult. And I deal with people who lost their child that day, and I also deal with other people that call me, and it's like, okay, I lost my son 11 years ago, but now I need help. Now I realize I need help. What do? You have to talk about it. Talking about it helps a lot.
Yeah.
Find a space, find somebody that can help you with it. And also for me, being in nature and doing the meditations, I just came back from Joe Dispenza, and just walking around. I mean, even if it's 5 o'clock in the morning, because yes, it is 5 or 6 in the morning that he wakes up, everybody. But I have realized that that gives me, I can relax. Because my heart is relaxing. And it's important that, I think, out of everything, most important is to have peace, peace in your heart.
I feel like you found peace. I feel it
Yeah.
so much with you.
Yeah. And I tell people you will have the same. And I don't want to promise it, because, of course, you can never promise the future. But I do say I will be here for you to help you walk again. And together we can make this happen.
What about justice? How do you feel about justice now? What does that word mean to you?
Hmm. Well, I have to say I got lucky because I did get justice for Stefano's you know, when Stefano died, I went to court and the two people that killed him are in jail. They are in jail right now. One forever and the other one is in jail for 30 years.
Wow.
And it gets to the point that I even wrote them letters last year because I had a huge campaign on organ donation here in Puerto Rico, and I went to all the jails to talk to inmates
Wow,
and
that's
say,
big. That's very
yes.
big.
And I said to them, it doesn't matter why you're here. If you kill somebody, if you rob, whatever, the point of me visiting you is asking you to please become organ donors. Register to become organ donors because you can end your life being a hero for people. So that campaign, I had 80% of the people who I spoke to registered as organ donors. And I wanted the people who killed Stefano, or at least I wanted to give them the possibility to do the same. So it's called a second chance.
You got a lot
And
going on, my friend.
yeah. And I did get a letter back from the man who killed, or
Did
at
you?
least the one who planned it. Yes. A 3-page letter saying he was sorry and saying that he has found God and that he was young and he was doing things he shouldn't have been doing. And but this 13 years in jail has given him time to think and to learn, and I believe in forgiveness. I think that's so important for us to have forgiveness, and to tell you the truth, I was not even angry at them when that happened. I felt sorry that they were not my children, because it had been my kids, they wouldn't be killing anybody.
If another parent is listening who's lost a child to violence, what would you want them to know about the path ahead? Like, what advice would you give to help with survival and healing?
Well, I have to say, not everybody has justice, and some people in this world of you know the people that kill, they can kill your son and then somebody will kill them, and then you have no court case, nothing. And a lot of parents get very upset about this, and because it's like they don't have conclusion, or they don't have justice for their child. And I have to say that, you know we need to focus on other things than that, than the justice alone. We need to focus on ourselves, we need to focus on our families, we need to focus on our health, and we need to focus on getting the help we need to be able to cross that line of the trauma of losing a kid, you know, to violence. And I'm here to help them. They can find me in Facebook. They can call me. My number is 1-787-607-4990. I'm always with my phone, unless I'm sleeping, and then I put it in airplane mode. But whoever calls, it doesn't matter where they're calling from. I always answer my phone and try to give the best advice I can to the parents. And if they live in Puerto Rico, they can come, of course, to our offices and get psychology, social work, thanatology for free. And also, we do group therapies and workshops, which we also do free of charge for the people that need it and that come to us. And we're lucky we are being surviving. We'll be able to pay for all this through donations that come, through our webpage, which is www.fundacionstefano.org. If you want to help us continue our work, you can go in there and click on donation, and that will help us continue our work that we do here in Puerto Rico. We have a staff of psychologists, social workers. There are around 12, and they're the ones that help me run the healthcare part of. They deal with everything that has to be with the psychologist and this, but I deal with the part of the workshops because I'm an artist. And through art, it has helped me have peace in my heart. So if you are somebody who's going through grief and you can find a space where you can paint or where you can do jewelry or you can sew, all those things are important for healing too. To find those spaces to give to yourself where you are in the here and now at the moment. And then for that time that you're doing this, you don't think about the pain that you have in your heart, and you get to meet other people maybe that are going through the same.
Well, the work you're doing is just extraordinary, and I am so inspired by you, my friend Zorimar. I really am, and like you raised the bar for me.
Well, it's about doing it together, and it's so grief is so private, it's personal, it's different for everybody, and we just have to feel it, express it, and go through it, because at the end of that road you will be a completely different person, but you will have learned so much about life, about yourself, and you will become a better person.
Well, you're making us all better people today, and I'm really so grateful you're here. In closing, at the end of our podcast, we always ask our guests if you could give us the final word in sharing how you'd like us to remember your son.
Hi, Stefano. I want you to remember Stefano. The way I see him that he's in the gates of heaven, like greeting everybody, because that's the way he was. He would like be the one that would be like, "Ah, who's coming today? Come in, let's, invite this and that." And he will always take care of people. So that's how I see him, with his huge smile and happy, and taking all this new people that are, that we're losing, but he's gaining. And that's how I see him. He wanted to be a dignitary. He wanted to make a better world, and I am doing that here for him, for both of us, because I'm here and I can be his voice, and he's there and he can help the ones that are coming in. And that's how I see him. He was an amazing son. He was an amazing brother, a friend. He was he did sports, but most of it he wanted to change the world in the way he could. And he was supposed to go live with his dad 5 days before he was murdered, but or 5 days after. And he wanted to be close to United Nations because he wanted to become, someone who could make changes for us. And that's how I see him. And
He's still
I mean,
making
what is
changes, though. Look at him. He's not here. And
yeah.
the force that he has on the world through you.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
and I'm very grateful to be his mother and to have this opportunity to help other families. And I have to say, I'm grateful also to Nikolai. Nikolai was 27 years old when he passed, and he's the one who bought this house that we got as a gift from his parents, from the Nikolai Munchenstein Foundation. And thanks to Nikolai and to Stefano, we will be helping many, many children and their families that are going through a lot of pain in their hearts, and help them have a good life and a peaceful life, and come at peace with the death.
Well, your courage reminds us that grief and love are forever intertwined, and that speaking about loss, including the loss from senseless violence, can help others feel so much less alone. I'm so honored to know you and call you a friend. You keep shining your light where the world needs it most. And thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for this opportunity, and de verdad, sending hugs, sending love to all these other families that are listening to us today and that have gone through, this process. You're not alone. You're not alone. We're here for you.
As long as you love.
Thank you so much for listening. If you found this podcast helpful, please share our link with others and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. I'm Monica Charette, reminding you that you are never alone in your grief. Until next time, we'll be right here with you, holding the light.
As long as as you love. As long as you love.